That is mushroom gravy. Yummy. I had some mushrooms I needed to use, and with it we made an oven-baked kinda chicken fried steak. And the mushrooms made an excellent gravy. Not quite the real thing, but it tasted good, so let's make it right now. I go into my fridge, grab the paper bag, and it's full of mushrooms that I gotta use. So that's why I thought of this one, because see, they're starting to get a little old. So we chopped up some mushrooms, chopped up some onions, because we're going to make a mushroom gravy ultimately. Yeah, so here's our mushroom. And I chopped them up kind of fine, because you don't really need lumpy stuff in your gravy. And I had a whole bag full that we were going to have to use. I wasn't sure I was going to even be able to use it all. And as it was, there was a lot, which was good. It all worked out well. My only disappointment was that it wasn't like the chicken fried steak I've seen pictures of. It was more like steak and mushroom gravy. But it was still really good. It was very tasty, and the meat was not dried out whatsoever. So we chopped up all our mushrooms. I got a huge bowl full of them. Let me get the cutting board out of the way. And there's our mushrooms. Let's put them aside till we need them. Into a frying pan, I got a couple tablespoons of oil. Heat it up, mush it around, in go our mushrooms. And we're going to cook these down till they shrink pretty close to half by the time we're done, to be quite honest. And once they're done, we're going to scoop them out and into a bowl, kind of like that. Now we're going to save that little bit of juice because we need that for the gravy. I kind of wish there was a little more than that, but that's what we got to work with, and that's what we're going to make happen. So now next we got to put in some beef broth. Got to do it quick. It says in the recipe 10 ounces. Yeah, I'm putting in about close to a cup and a half. A little extra isn't going to hurt. We get lots of gravy. There's our cornstarch. Cold water. 1 heaping tablespoon. I will make it kind of a tablespoon and a half. You're going to mix it all together. Get all the gunk that forms on your spoon too, because it clumps up. So you got to really mix it so it's non-clumpy. Then you get something that looks like that, all nice and white. Now we're just going to mix it around. We're going to bring it up to a boil. Continually stirring. You can see it changes colors. And then it's pretty well gravy. Real simple. So now we're going to put all our mushrooms into the gravy. Hey, what an idea. I'm going to save just a little bit for the country fried steak, just because I want to top them with a little bit of mushrooms. But as you can see, that's lots of mushroom gravy. Even it's escaping on me. I'm stirring so quick. But that looks really good. So we're going to let that meld all its flavors together, and let's get out our meat. So here's what I bought, a top round. I think it was a top round, but they were thin, which is why I bought them. And see how thin they were, so that way I didn't have to do too much pounding. If you got cube steak, you can use that. So I've got some plastic wrap. I think I'm going to try and do 3 at a time. Cover it up. All right, get out our banger. If you don't have that, you got to improvise. A rolling pin usually, or you could just use a regular hammer. That should work. The recipe said use a wine bottle. I don't know about that. But something heavy that you can knock it down. And see how they're nice and thin? So we just got 2 more to do, 1, 2, and we are done pounding out our steak. I'm not sure exactly how much thinner it is, but they're roughly the same size. So into another pan, It's about a cup of onions. And we're going to get our flour ready. So this is just flour, a little bit of salt and pepper, and lightly breaded. I dusted off the excess flour. Now it goes right over into the pan because we got to quick fry it. And this is where I don't think it was quite like a chicken fried steak, because I've read the recipes and this isn't quite the way you do it. But I like the idea of it being an oven baked steak, so we'll try it and see. They're thin, so I'm not so sure putting it in the oven's going to keep it moist. Boy, was I wrong on that one. So about a minute each side is about all I was doing. Dreadfully scared of them getting overdone, because unless you're like my buddy Woody, who likes things almost burnt to a crisp, I like it with some red in it, or lots of red, to be quite honest. There, so there's the last of our steaks. Now we just got to get them ready. There we go. Yum-y. Now I'm going to use a tin foil container, of course. So much easier on the cleanup. We're going to give it a spray just to make sure nothing sticks. I don't think it will, and do I really care? Not really. Now each of these steaks, we're going to try and make it so that they're about as flat as possible. Not going to work out perfect, but as you can see, they're all lined up in the bottom. And just for the hell of it, I thought I'd sprinkle a little extra flour on it. I don't know if that was such a grand idea, but the thought was there. Plus I was going to throw the flour out, because what are you going to use it for once you've salt and peppered it? I guess I could always put it in the freezer and use it for later. Alright, there go our semi-sauteed onions. And then the last of the mushrooms that we saved from our gravy go on top. And this is where it was kind of silly to save them, because now I'm putting the gravy on top and right on top of the mushrooms. I don't think it would have mattered if I would have just thrown them all in the one. Ooh, there you go. That steak is covered. I'm putting it on a baking sheet because, of course, the tin foil pans are not the sturdiest. And we're going to cover that up. Now we're going to put this in the oven, 350 for half an hour. And when it's done, let's carefully get the lid off. And watch the steam. There we go. It looks pretty good to me. Now, I put it in for another 10 minutes because that's what the directions said. But then I pulled it out because the whole point was the onions had to cook. But I cooked them ahead of time because I find that onions just don't cook nice enough. Onions, bacon, what have you, when you just throw them into something. So we put it on a plate, and there we go. It looks good. Tastes really good. It's not quite chicken fried steak, which I'm going to have to do, but this recipe is good. And regardless of what it's actually called, it didn't make it past dinner. Hey, another great recipe. I hope you'll give it a try. Leave me a comment below, one way or the other. Listen, if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell, because that'll tell you the next time I upload a video. Feel free to share this and any of my other videos. And thanks for stopping by and watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.